All right, so we got our first movie review, horror movie, Quiet Place, which, to be honest, I'm not going to consider this movie an actual horror movie. I'm probably going to put it more into the thriller category. But as we're recording this, I'm new to this movie franchise. I've You already know I'm not a big prequel guy, and I feel like this is appropriate for me at this point for me to sit down and actually do this pod watching the prequel first instead of watching the other two movies um, prior. So I enjoyed this movie a lot better from this perspective.
Yeah, going into this movie, like, even though this is a prequel, and I know you don't like prequels, but goes without saying that I think this movie really does add more detail and more story to the actual Quiet Place movies for the last two. Um, if you remember closely from the first one, it starred John Krasinski, Emily Blunt, and a family in like an Aurora like suburb area, and it was infected by aliens or taken over by aliens. Now recently the community is finally given a name to these aliens. Don't quote me, but I mean these are the names that I'm hearing on the internet. It is called the Death Angels. So we do have somewhat of a background story for them. Supposedly, that these aliens are running from home, that their home has been destroyed. So they had to evacuate on meteorites, and they crash landed on the Earth, and they can't see, but they can hear visually like bats, like super sonar. So everything uh triggers their sensor, and as you know in the movie, they destroy mankind.
Like before we even get any deeper into this story, do you think this movie was appropriate at this point after watching the first two movies, Quiet Place One and Quiet Place Two?
My personal opinion, I think it does. I think it counts. Because there was a lot of unanswered questions in the first two, such as like why did these aliens come? Why did these aliens travel from space to planet Earth? What's their names? What exactly do they want with us? I mean, I feel like it adds more to the story, but also leaves a lot of unanswered questions as well. It's very vague, but I mean, it does. I feel like it has a certain spot in this timeline for these movies.
All right, because I was gonna say I would sit down and watch the first two and the relevance to Quiet Place Day One. I know it's a different perspective from you actually being in the actual heart and city of New York, opposed to you being on the outskirts of New York. I believe it was someplace towards the Appalachian Mountains. I think that was the reference that was made. But um, I did want to touch on the first two movies real fast with your boy John Krasinski directing the movie, and the family. What stuck out to me with the first two movies is like it just seemed like this family, and it was an eye opener for me. This family being on the outskirts, being in a farm type setting, already prepared for this type of situation as far as being able to survive without civilization, and also the I guess it could be a gift that the daughter, she was deaf, so it ended up being an advantage for them to be able to communicate without actually speaking, was a big huge advantage of them in the first two movies.
Correct. Sign language did help out a lot in this movie, which also gave it a tone like suspense, you know what I mean? Like not knowing what's around the corner and just having to tiptoe around the area, the small town that they came from. Which I mean, if you kind of think about that, like realistically speaking, like if these monsters could hear like the slightest sound being made, like I mean, isn't that kind of like how do I say this? Like scary. I mean, like to be honest with you, like I mean, you can't make no sound, you can't do nothing. I mean, as we know it in the movie, that it took a couple of weeks just to, I mean, well, days actually to destroy mankind. I mean, that's pretty crazy though if you think about it.
I'm gonna take it a step further because, like I said, it had me really thinking. Do you have any survival type of skills?
I don't know. I mean, I would have to be put in that scenario, but I don't think I could survive in this
Can you
in this
fish?
franchise. No, I've never fished before.
Can you make a fire?
Yeah,
How you make a fire? Please tell me. Without a lighter or any
without a
lighter
lighter,
fluid
you create
or any
fiction. You rub
charcoal.
two sticks together, and you create fiction.
That's the cartoon way, but I don't think that's the way you're supposed to do
Then no, to answer your question, no, no, I can't hunt.
it.
Hey, so I
I,
guess to answer this question, realistically speaking, how long would I be able to survive in this movie? I guess you could say mere
to answer
seconds.
the question, you're screwed, just like
I'm
me.
screwed. Yeah, mere seconds, I'll probably be manipulated. But I mean, that's the scary part about this. Like it's pretty crazy how these monsters can't see you, but they can hear you from far away distance. And then, like, I mean, you think about it. I mean, there's nothing we really can't do. I mean, we're human beings, and we cause a lot of noise, bro. We make a lot of noise, man. No matter where we're going.
That's true. So I guess the takeaway from watching this movie is to learn some type of survival skills. I think the first step for me is probably gonna learn how to plant some vegetables and some fruits or something like that because I don't even know how to do that. All I know is how to pick a weed and cut grass.
First, you got to learn to raid the supermarkets like they did in day one. I mean, that's the most important because you need the canned foods to survive. But you also have to remember too, you got to learn how to adapt to that environment without making that noise. I mean, that's hard to say. I mean, New York City, bro. Like, to start off with this movie is like they said the sound of the sound that New York was making was like 9 in the decimal system, which is equivalent to a scream. So you have to understand that these monsters are hearing like these like screams for days. So it must like irritate them. So the slightest sound is just irritating them in a huge city like this. And as you know, New York City is a city that never sleeps. So I mean, I mean, it took hours just to eliminate the just the humans on that island. So I mean, it's pretty wild if you think about it.
Yeah. So I wanted to go ahead and put the microscope on a actor that has the spotlight under his belt right now, considering the fact he's supposed to be a big, huge, pivotal part in an upcoming Marvel movie that we're looking forward to, and that's Joseph Quinn and his role in this movie. Because I remember when they had the casting for the Fantastic Four, we haven't sat down and watched any roles with him. I believe the main one was Stranger Things, and we caught a lot of heat on the social media sites as far as our inexperience with Joseph Quinn. So I want to go ahead and ask you this: what do you think about his performance in this movie?
I liked it. I mean, I don't really got much complaints besides him being like scared in the movie. I mean, I didn't really like it. I felt like um Lupita was more like bold and stronger than he was, but I mean maybe that was just the way the story was supposed to be carried. But I mean, acting wise, I mean, first time seeing him on screen, I mean, I think I might have seen him in Stranger Things maybe once or twice. I'm not sure. I vaguely remembered that Netflix series, to be honest with you. So I mean, I was watching shows here and there, not in order. So um, got no complaints. I mean, if he's supposed to be the Human Torch, to be more power to you. I mean, he's got a to how does it is he's got a high expectation. He's got a coming
Some
forward
huge
taking that
shoes
role.
to fill.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, you took it out of my mouth. But yeah, you're right. He does.
I'm gonna just say that in this movie, personally, I don't think acting was a big, huge thing in this movie. If we're being honest, like they could have threw me and you in there, and we could have did some things. So I was sitting down and I was reading some of the articles, reviews for this movie, and they said Joseph Quinn and Lupita, they had like a an amazing chemistry together, and I was having a discussion, and it was just a weird odd couple that was able to make things work. But as far as like when I look at chemistry as far as two actors or actresses or actor or actress on screen. It's more of like how they're able to, coexist with each other on screen as far as the communicational part. And honestly, with this movie, I'm just like, I think that's a little bit of a stretch. But I'll just say this for Joseph Quinn: the jury's still out on him moving forward as far as him being the Human Torch. I just don't see the swagger of the Human Torch in Joseph Quinn in this movie. I've kind of felt he was a little bit what's the word I want to use? Underwhelming considering the hype around Joseph Quinn, but I'm going to go ahead and give it the benefit of the doubt, considering the fact that we've played this game quite a few times with Robert Pattinson. We played it with Heath Ledger, and I can't think of who else that we played this game with. But homeboy that plays the Penguin in the new Batman movie, I can't remember what his name is, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give it the benefit of the doubt, and I'm looking forward to seeing another one of Joseph Quinn's projects before I end up making my decision on what I think of him moving forward. But let's go ahead and get into this story. Obviously, we're looking at it from the different perspective in this movie, Quiet Place Day One, where we're in the heart of New York City, and Lupita's character, her name is oh, do we get a name for Lupita's character? What's Lupita's character's name?
Starts with a S. Samira, I think is her name.
Yes. So this takes place. She's in I believe it's a recovery home because she's on like she's taking these patches due to her drug addiction, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we start off. They're going on this field trip thing, and they're watching a puppet show, which was an amazing puppet show, by the way. The puppet, I believe he was smoking a cigarette, if I'm not mistaken. So that I never seen anything like that. So something like Pinocchio and Geppetto, if we're being honest. So so she goes at the end of the puppet show to her doctor that takes her on the field trip that she wants to go get a pizza from Patsy's, right?
Yep.
So, and then all hell breaks loose. Like we see the giant meteors of what do they call these? The angels of death. You said that's the
Yeah.
that's the alias we gave these aliens. So
Yeah,
the
that's what the community's calling them.
okay, the angels of death just come down a meteor shower, and then just all hell breaks loose. Like explosions everywhere, people running and screaming, explosions, all that good stuff, right? And then we seeking refuge, obviously. And one of the things that probably was weird to me is they just automatically just knew just to be quiet.
I mean, it was probably more of the shock, like seeing something falling from the sky and not understanding it. I mean, think about it. I mean, what was there to say? I mean, they're just looking at each other like, "What is that?" And then all of a sudden, the entire city is engulfed in dust and dirt and fog, and then all of a sudden, people are just getting ganked here and there for making sound, not fully understanding what's going on. You don't know if you're being attacked or people are dying on spot. You know what I mean? It was basically like the end of the world. Basically, I mean, was there much to do?
Yeah. So yeah, they're sitting. I believe they go back into the theater where they had the little puppet show thing at, and then Lupita's character says, "I'm gonna go get pizza," and I'm sitting in the theater like, what pizza you getting? Like, ain't nobody gonna prepare you a nice, fresh, a hot one. Like, at this point, you eat anything you can find on the street. So I'm like, uh, what is going on here, right? So she just decides to just go off on her own and do her own thing, and she's working her way back to get this pizza from Patsy's, right? And then the weird thing is Joseph Quinn's character just pops up out the water. Like, where where were you this whole time?
Yeah,
What were you
that's a
doing
very
this whole time?
Like, interesting question. I think he was in the subway, if I remember correctly, drowning, and then he came out. Like, I think he hit the middle mark of the movie, and all of a sudden we're introduced to his character, and then it's like he's doesn't know where he's going. He's lost and confused, scared, and then he bumps into Lupita's character because of the cat, and it does question like what happened, like what were you doing, what like, and how did you make it this far, and why are you alive? Like that's the question of the movie that it actually hits. I guess I would say this is like the main storyline. Like, what would you do on your last day if you knew you were going to die tomorrow? What would you do? Would you live it out?
Can you answer that question on the spot?
I don't know, man. I mean, I wouldn't really know. I mean, if I'm gonna die, I might as well live it up. I might start drinking, partying. I mean,
You're gonna drink
probably
and
even
party on your last day?
I think so, or raid a couple places if I wanted to. I mean, just to say I done something courageous before I went. Break it to a whole, like Best Buy or something, and just steal a couple TVs and flip them. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. Like I don't know. To be honest with you, I really don't know.
Trying to think what I would do actually.
But let's make even that question more intense. If you knew you were dying, like at the moment the world is dying and it finally hits you, like right there and then, point blank, like just have a few seconds to acknowledge, oh snap, it's the end of the world today. What would you do? Apparently Lupita's character wanted pizza, so she went to go to Harlem to go get pizza.
That's a little bit too calm of thinking for me, if we're being honest. Like we've never seen an alien in your life, and you're just sitting there like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm gonna get a pizza.
I mean, I guess her final wish was I want something to eat, and if I'm gonna go out dying, I mean, I might as well give me a slice of pizza while I'm at it at my favorite pizza place. I mean, it's pretty wild thinking though, but I mean, let's think about it. That's pretty much the whole concept of this movie. I mean, just the fact that she was like, "Oh, I'm dying anyway." I mean, about to die. Either I die from my illness or I die from these aliens. Either way, it ain't stopping me from what I want.
What's the last pizza place you want to eat before it's your time to go?
Damn, I don't really got a favorite pizza spot. I mean, damn.
It's got to be Stained Glass Pub for me.
I don't know, bro. I don't really got a pizza place. I mean, I miss with Domino's, but that's pretty much it. But that's a French.
I don't like garlic on my pizza, so that's not happening.
I don't mind it.
No garlic, please. But it's probably either going to be Lido's or Stained Glass Pub for me. If I'm going to travel to go get my last slice before it's my time to go, it's going to be those two places, and I'm gonna pay the tolls just to get the Stained Glass Pub.
He said, "I'll pay the tolls." I mean, screw them tolls. It's your last day to live. Screw them tolls. You ain't paying shit. But Joseph Quinn's character, going back to the movie, his only goal in this movie was to survive. I mean, realistically speaking, I mean, isn't that the main goal?
Yeah, so I wanted to put the microscope on that real fast. So we're looking at two different characters. Joseph Quinn, I believe he stated in the movie as a character. He just came over from England just to go to law school, if memory serves me correct. And then you look at Lupita's character, where she's just an addict, recovering addict, just trying to, I guess, get back to what she was doing. I believe she was an author or a poet, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So the two backgrounds are very different. So for them to just travel the streets of New York like this, even though Lupita wasn't exactly on board with him tagging along, the moment, I believe it was the scene where she wasn't feeling too well and she needed her medicine, and he went out and risked his life just to go find those patches, really was eye opening to me, where it's just like, well, you literally had the opportunity to just go off and just do what you wanted to do, but you was actually remaining loyal to her. Whereas really loyalty in this movie at this point is just like, we just trying to make it. It don't even matter about anybody else. I'm just trying to make it. So for him to go out of his way and do that for her, that shows a lot of humanity and heart, honestly.
That's one of the main focuses of this movie, because as if we go back to the first one and the second one, Quiet Place 1 and 2, it is the humanity trying to survive, and it is mostly about family surviving no matter what. And then in this movie, it is just two strangers who would just happen to find each other along the way, and they do what they got to survive together, showing you that there are still good people in the world. That it's just, you never know who you bump into, and at the end of the day, I mean, we got to stick together to survive. I mean, pretty much that's the whole moral of the story. What's stronger than family? I mean, sometimes you never know who you bump into, and you end up building a really like tight bond.
That's true. That is true. Um, Continuing on with the story, I believe they, I guess the government hovering over the skies of New York was able to identify the Angels of Death's weakness, obviously sound, and the other weakness was their inability to swim. Was just hovering over in a helicopter, communicating with the people of New York, letting them know, like, look, stay calm, stay quiet. We're going to stay indoors. And I believe further down the road during the movie, they was like, all right, make your way to the port, such and such. And at this point, we're in the evacuation period where we have all these people, just thousands of people, just walking down the street of New York, trying to make their way to make their way to the port. And I will say, if this is just me, I'm not walking with everybody. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm gonna figure out how I'm gonna get there, but I'm just gonna do my own thing because I don't trust all these people just to be quiet and not do anything unnecessary.
I agree with you, but it's also kind of like, you think about it like this: everybody's trying to survive, and of course someone's bound to fuck that up for everybody. It's. I mean, it didn't take long for them to get spotted by these aliens. And it's pretty interesting that you see all these people hiding, and then they're walking the street, and you're just looking at each other like, yo, we got to make it to the pier. We got to go across the street without making sound. And then you slowly start to see from like less than 100 people to like maybe 1,000, I guess, or thousands of walking same street down the road. And then you just slowly start to hear the footsteps start to increase, the sound start increasing, and it is making a lot of noise, which is a pretty much a big dead giveaway with these aliens, because they can hear, they have super hearing. But also, it's kind of like, damn, bro, like, even though we're like smart creatures, we kind of fucked that up if you think about it. So to answer you, like, to go back to what your statement was, yeah, I definitely would do it alone. Or if I was in a group, we definitely do it by ourselves. We're not walking with other people, but at the same time, think about it like this: how many, they can't kill you all. So it's either survive trying, or die trying. You know what
True, true.
I mean?
Hey, you know what? I'm forgetting about a character. He's a reprising role character from Quiet
Oh
Place
yes.
2. Uh, Digimon Hanzo, right?
Correct.
Now, his role in this movie was a lot bigger than what it was in Quiet Place 2. Now, I thought his role was going to be a whole lot bigger in this movie, considering the fact the cachet that that Digimon carries. But I think I'm satisfied with his role in this movie.
It was a big surprise seeing him in this movie. I felt he had more of a role in the second one, even though he didn't make it. Spoiler alert. But they knocked it down to a cameo, basically. I mean, we only saw him what, 3 times in the movie, twice in the play, and then once on the boat at the end. I feel like that was a missed opportunity, maybe just as me, but I was looking forward to seeing his character. If I can remember correctly, I believe his wife didn't make it. It was just him and his son. But I might be
Yeah,
wrong on
I
that.
believe it was just him and his son that ended up making it. But yeah, I agree. I feel like his role, well, obviously, like I said before, I saw this movie first before I saw the second movie. So if I were to see the second movie first, I would have thought his role would have increased, possibly even being a main character in this movie, considering the fact that we're trying to figure out how we ended up getting to this island. Damn, this sounds kind of confusing now that I'm sitting back and explaining this because it's kind of almost like watching Star Wars. But
It's like, think about it like a video game. It's the same reality but told in a different perspective, like a side quest but with different characters. So like, it was interesting. I ain't faulting the movie, but I just feel with Digimon's like character was a missed opportunity. Could you have made him one of the main characters? I could see that happening, but then they probably would have to put more money into that. Um, but
as him
but
being the main character.
correct, I think so. They would have to pay him more for that. I'm pretty sure he got paid handsomely for this. Just a cameo scene for. I mean, what he had the screen, like his screen time was like maybe like 10 minutes, 15 minutes the most.
About 15.
About 15. So like a Robert Downey Jr. kind of cameo. But I feel like it was also a good opportunity going forward with Lupita and Joseph Quinn's character, just to see the chemistry of these two, and also not focusing back on the main characters from the first two movies in the franchise. So I mean, it was a different take, but I mean, I just like, yet again, just I feel like it was missed opportunity. Maybe I felt like you should have added him even if he wasn't a main character, added some type of like how do I say this, like something more, like add more to the canon. Like you could have had him guided the characters or helped the characters escaped, or hints that they were where they were going in the second movie. It was an island off New York City, if I remember correctly. I believe that's where the government took everybody. They could have specified where they were going, but it was just saying that they were rescuing everybody that was in the main city. That's just me. Just add a little bit more like connection to the second movie.
Yeah. Well, again, I saw this movie first before I saw the second one, so I really didn't think about it until after I saw the second one. But um, I just felt like that was probably like the big huge plot hole for this for the connection in the franchise. If you're gonna add them in the movie, put them in the movie to make it make sense.
Facts.
So anyway, continuing on with the story after Joseph Quinn's character goes out and go get Lupita this patch. They set out to be on this quest. At this point, I'm already like, they probably not even looking to get out of the city at this point. They're like going in a totally different direction, and they go get Patsy's, right? So
Yeah.
she is so grateful to Joseph Quinn's character in this movie, even though at first she really wasn't on board with him accompanying her on this quest, and they establish a connection with each other.
Correct. One of the great scenes is when the cat strays off and to the rooftop of the building as he's looking for the medicine, and we come to find out that these death angels has some type of hunger. They brought some type of something to eat from their planet. It was pretty interesting because I didn't think they eat like just regular, like they eat like regular, something from home. I just assumed that they were eating humans. Assuming that's why they were killing the humans, but come to find out that they have their own type of food that they eat, nutrients that they gain. So that was a pretty good, that was pretty good information that that these aliens have. They do eat, so they don't eat humans. So that's pretty interesting.
Right. I'm trying to figure out what the relevance of that was.
I guess
Right.
because everybody probably assumed that they were eating the humans. I mean, I didn't know they were just killing the humans. I just thought they were eating them as nutrients to survive. I mean, they are aliens. I mean, they do need to eat, I guess. I mean, I'm just assuming. Um, but I mean, that was a pretty good detail to add to the Death Angels, that they have their own type of food that they brought with them. The only thing I gotta say about this too is that I don't know about you, but for me, that cat, that cat was kind of annoying, bro. Like, that cat should have gave away so many, like, how does it is like the cat should have made so much noise, bro. I've never seen a cat that's been that quiet. Like,
Not
it should
one
have been a dead
meow.
giveaway. Not one meow, not one scratch. That cat was just perfect. So I mean, I don't know. Just to me, I just felt like, I ain't gonna lie to you, the cat was cool, but when he went to go to the rooftop to save the cat and go grab it, I would have been like, screw that cat, bro. I'm not going after a cat to put myself in the nest of these Death Angels, yo. Screw that, yo.
Yeah, 1000%. I think as a pet owner now, I'm qualified to say this. Yeah, the cat had so many times during the course of this movie, this cat would have been left. I'm sorry, I'm not the owner anymore.
I feel you. It was pretty cool seeing the cat being given away by Lupita to Joseph Quinn's character at the end. I didn't expect the ending to go the way it was supposed to. I mean, I was kind of hoping they would both escape, and I was kind of saddened because she kind of just realized, like, it is what it is. One of us had to survive, and one of us had to stay back. Pretty sad, but also kind of like, it's realistically speaking, yeah, not everybody's going to survive in this movie. So I mean, going in and knowing that is, rooting for these characters was pretty cool. Like, I wish that we got to know them a little bit better, even though we didn't have enough screen time with both of them. It was only like an hour and a half for the movie. So my final thoughts on this movie, I really liked it. I could see them doing another spin to this movie, maybe another prequel to it. Maybe not continue with Joseph Quinn's character. It would be cool to see what he does, but maybe seeing in another aspect of the lens of somebody else's eyes, because it was given in this franchise that it wasn't just America that was attacked. There was also Shanghai, and I believe Mexico was also attacked first before they attacked New York City. So that's pretty interesting to see how other continents or other countries were handling this invasion as well.
So you want to see a China Quiet Place,
Or a Mexican Quiet Place. Either one, I'm fine with it.
Mexico Quiet Place.
I'd like to see how the cartels handle this. Or the triads. That would be pretty interesting to see how other governments handle it. So I mean, I believe I remember, if I'm in the Quiet Place too, there were certain countries that weren't attacked by these Death Angels, but take that with a grain of salt. I may not remember this correctly, but if I am, that'd be pretty interesting to see how how half the world is able to handle this and the other half isn't, and able to move on and just continue living. I can see this franchise being a little bit bigger than what it is, but going into this movie, I liked it. I don't know about you.
Scale of 1 to 10.
I give it a 7.
7. I'm inclined to agree. I was gonna say 7.5, 8. Considering it's a prequel and I didn't watch the other movies.
I would have to say 1, 2, and 3, like best to last.
That's the last.
Yeah. In order.
2, 2, 1, 3.
2, 1, 3. Not bad. I mean, the first one will always have a special place in my heart. I mean, it was one of the first, coming. I think it happened before COVID, and then we had to wait during COVID to get the second one. So I mean, I can see this franchise growing. I can't wait and see where this goes.
You're looking for multiple sequels.
Maybe not 2. Maybe they can do maybe 2 or 3 more. That's it. Like 2 side stories and continue. From what I heard, John Krasinski states that part 3 is coming soon. With Emily Blunt, and it's gonna finish with a trilogy. But there is possibilities for prequels or side stories, spin-offs.